Good Sunday morning, last day in August. We're getting closer. 40 days, 40 days away. All right, so today is kind of a different thing. Another top 5 list that I'm creating. Top 5 strangest stories from this last year. As we know, and this isn't exclusive to the Fed. This goes for minor league hockey in general, particularly the lower levels or semi-pro or whatever. Uh, there's a lot of interesting stuff that happens behind the scenes. A lot of things that make you scratch your head. So we're going to take a look at our top 5 stories, and here they are. Tried to have some fun with this, but nonetheless, they were strange stories. So the first one was the bus issues. Bus issues are not anything new. However, it seems like everything started right off the bat. It was the second week of the season that things started. Binghamton had a problem with their bus getting to Hudson Valley. And from there, it seemed like every week somebody's bus was breaking down. It was exceptionally frequent. We'll just say that. So we had teams borrowing other teams' buses just to try and get from here to there. It seemed like almost every team had bus issues. Carolina, they were the long-standing joke for several years because they had a bus that was older than God himself. They got a new bus, new used, and it broke down a couple times. So it was just kind of strange. We had a lot of games that ended up getting postponed, pushed back, because not just because of the weather, but because of bus issues, because teams were stranded on the highway for 24, 28, 30 hours. It was really, really kind of strange. So hopefully we don't have that again this year, at least, not with the frequency. It's going to happen every now and then. Unfortunately, it's par for the course for low level minor league hockey, but the fact that it happens so often was just weird. Have a couple teams that have brand new buses, so hopefully things stay well maintained. And a couple teams are going with charter services, so I'm hoping that we have this issue much less frequent as we did it last year. Okay, the Justin Barr suspension. And this was just kind of weird because of what happened, who it was, and how things turned out. Justin Barr, as you know, or maybe you don't know, so I'll tell you, he is in the front office for the Biloxi Breakers. He helped bring pro hockey back to Biloxi. He was working very closely with Joe Pace and Barry Soskin at the time to get this market opened up and for the Fed to be able to get a team there. And he is also just the exceptional, gentlemanly type person. He was a player that everyone loved to be on the ice with, whether you were a teammate of his or even if you were on the other team. Everybody liked Justin Barr. Fantastic man. So Saturday, February 22nd, nobody's perfect. An incident happens late in the game in which Barr just is not very happy with something that has gone on the ice. He's hacked, couple teammates are hacked. And as he is being escorted to the penalty box by the linesman, and if you know, the linesmen usually have like an arm around the person or kind of a hand on the back, just making sure you go the right way. Barr turned back, yelled at the referee, which was now at the other end of the ice, went ballistic, pushed the linesman, got the fracas, and it was very, very uncharacteristic. The following day, after this incident, Justin Barr went on social media and apologized and recognized, I was out of line. I'm sorry. This is not indicative of the person that I am. I deeply regret this. A couple days later, the league announces that they're going to suspend Barr for 14 games. Now, Justin Barr had already announced that he was retiring at the end of the season. So this was it. And when this suspension was announced, Mississippi had 13 games left. So obviously that was it. And Mississippi wasn't going to make the playoffs. So yeah, basically Barr was being banned from the league. The team appealed the decision. Dave Jackson made the decision. He said, according to the NHL rule book, physical abuse of an official is a maximum or is a 20-game suspension, which is 1/4 of the season. Using that math, a quarter of our Fed season is 14 games. We're saying 14 games. All right, everyone, fans, other teams, other organizations, all stood up and said, no, you can't do this to the guy. We recognize that what he did was, not good, but come on, this isn't Justin. We know this is an isolated incident. Teams and fans got in an uproar. Just, basically you had free Barr signs in every arena, whether it was Mississippi's or other arenas. Finally, the league heard the appeal and said, okay, we understand that Barr, has been an outstanding member of the Fed for a long, long time. Still, we cannot condone what happened. We can't, it doesn't matter if it's Justin Barr or Buster McKnuckles. You can't do that to an official, which Barr had recognized in his apology. Anyway, so they said, all right, we're going to reduce the suspension to 12 games. We're going to allow Justin Barr to play in the home finale against Danbury. And it was a wonderful celebration. A banner was raised, big number 18, Justin Barr's number. Both teams got in the ice with the banner, posed for a picture, Danbury and Mississippi. All the Danbury players went over, congratulated Justin Barr on a wonderful career. And he continues, fortunately, to be a very important person in the FPHL, just now in a front office role. But just the way everything went down, it was very strange. Watertown, I'm wearing a Watertown jersey today. The blow up in Watertown. Watertown had gone through a couple of seasons in which they struggled. After winning the cup in 2022, the next 2 years, they really, really struggled, barely made the playoffs both years, and things were not looking good. In the off season, leading up to last season, Coach Charlie Penz recruited very, very well, brought in a lot of people, a lot of new faces to go along with some old faces, and the team was red hot. Started off the year home and home against Binghamton, lost the opener by 1 goal, and then went into Binghamton. Binghamton had a banner raising ceremony for winning the championship the year before, and Watertown soundly beat Binghamton. It was the beginning of an excellent start for the team. They went 11-5-1. And they were averaging 5.8 goals scored per game. They were leading the league by a lot as far as goals scored. This team was very potent, and everyone thought, wow, Watertown's going to make a deep run this year. And then, just like that, things turned. December 19th, very, very strange. Right after the previous weekend in which Carolina and Watertown faced off, and Carolina won both games 3-2 and 4-0. That 4-0 shutout was one of Mario Cavallari's 6 shutouts on the seasons. But anyway, so Watertown had lost 2 in a row, but still in excellent shape. In second place, solidly within striking distance of challenging Binghamton. We know the year that Binghamton had. And Watertown looked like it was firing on all cylinders. Suddenly, on December 19th, the ownership announced Charlie Penns was fired. Justin Coachman was brought in immediately. And a lot of players were either within a week's time traded out or suspended by the team. Very strange. And the players that were moved out, some of the players that were moved out and some of them were suspended were key integral players on this team. Very strange. From that point on, the team went 17-18-3, kind of limped their way into the playoffs. They ended up falling down to 4th place. They won their play-in game against Motor City, and then fell to Binghamton 2-0 in the next round of the playoffs. And that was another year in which the Watertown fans were wondering what could have been. Again, a team that was 11-5-1 was considered to be, at the time, one of the top teams in the league, was suddenly dismantled. And the dynamic of the team was never the same. There were still some very good players there, but the fast start was kind of all for naught. And it was kind of a strange story. Number 4. Or number 2, if you're counting down. I guess, I'm kind of counting down. So let's make this number 2. The Pat Manning, Elmira, Hudson Valley debacle. All right, so at the end of the 23-24 season, the Elmira River Sharks, which was owned by the league, by the way, had been informed by the county commission that owned the arena that we don't want you back. And this was nothing new for the Chemung County Industrial Development Authority. That's the entity that owned the arena. Nothing new. So we've gone through the song and dance before a couple times with Elmira teams where the CCIDA got in the way and said, we don't like this. So suddenly the league was trying to figure out, what do we do with this franchise? Let's put it up for sale. Almost immediately, very first buyer that came their way, a man named Pat Manning, had been the state assemblyman for New York. Was fairly well to do off with some real estate business that he had done. Said, I'll buy the team. I'd love to move them to Hudson Valley. The league said, yeah, you have our blessing. Great. Go for it. So the team was taken to Hudson Valley. Now, Pat Manning had already owned the Hudson Valley Vipers, the APHL semi-pro champions from the year before. They were playing in Poughkeepsie. Initially, the announcement was, we're going to move the Venom to Poughkeepsie. The Vipers are going to be our farm team. They're going to help supplement the team. Everything seemed grand and dandy. Then, a few days later, Manning made the curious announcement that we're going to keep the Vipers in Poughkeepsie with a larger arena and move the Venom to Newburgh, New York. Wasn't even really Newburgh. It was an arena that was just off the highway a few miles outside of town. Really kind of in the boondocks. I mean, there was immediate interstate access, but very, very strange. An arena that only sat 450. Manning said, "Oh, I'm going to expand this. We're gonna make 1,500 seats." Didn't happen. Meanwhile, other things that didn't happen were the arena was not getting paid, or the players, or the staff. Nobody was getting paid because Manning had blown all his money with purchasing the team and buying a used bus. And that was it. So suddenly the team kind of got orphaned, and next thing you know, games are getting postponed. And behind the scenes, what people didn't know at the time was the team was on the verge of folding within a couple of days. So the league said, well, we need to stave this off. Bought some time, just postponed the games, pushed the games back, so we'll reschedule later on. In the meantime, they found another buyer, PKB LLC, which is Parker Mescal, Kevin Kupia, and a couple other partners, bought the team. Kept the team going through the year, got all the bills paid. They were able to reach an agreement with the arena and move the team up to Poughkeepsie. By the way, at the same time, the Vipers had suddenly disappeared. They were no longer an entity. But the Venom, they moved to Poughkeepsie. They were only able to play a few games there. Better arena situation, much better housing situation. So the players were being taken care of. The bills were paid. And behind the scenes, Mescal was saying, we're not going to stay here in Poughkeepsie next year, but we're going to get through this year. We're going to make sure we finish out the year. And they did. Struggled mightily, did not make the playoffs. But yeah, it was a very, very strange situation. And so one good thing that did come out of it is that the league has become a little more vigilant as far as vetting potential owners. And so hopefully we will not have that kind of a situation again. The final story, the Dashers. Dashers 2.0, as I call it, because there was Danville Dashers for 9 years, years 2 through 10 in the FPHL. So on February 10th, after a couple of years of a lot of fans saying, bring hockey back to Danville, bring hockey back to Danville, Barry Soskin, who was the owner of the original Danville Dashers, said, all right, he reaches an agreement in principle with the David S. Palmer Arena in Danville on a contract. On February 10th, Soskin then took that contract, gave it to his legal team, and it sat on the desk for 3 months, untouched. Soskin never signed off on it. Very, very curious. So finally, the team is announced on May 28th by the league. Yep. By now, it was very late in the process for getting corporate sponsorships and marketing going and all the things that you need to do to start a franchise. Not much time. And so let's see. AJ Tesseraro was named head coach. They did the expansion draft. The Dashers did not draft well. Right from the get-go, even with the 12 that they selected, you said, even if these players play for the Dashers, this team is going to struggle. We didn't know how badly they were going to struggle. But 3 weeks before the season is about to start, it seems like everything's getting set. Players are starting to get signed finally. Diane Short, who was the GM and basically team president. She didn't have the title team president, but she served in that capacity. Announced timeout 3 weeks before the season. It was very curious. No statement ever came from Barry Soskin on the ordeal. A couple other people also left the office. And so in the meantime, Diane had ordered all sorts of merchandise to sell, never set up a web store. Makes it kind of hard to move merchandise. And merchandise is one of the key ways that you generate income for your team. Corporate sponsorships, they came in dribs and drabs. The volunteers who serve now in the front office really struggled with getting corporate sponsorships. A ragtag group of individuals with a couple of standouts like Justin Browson came in opening day, and opening weekend, dropped a couple of games. Third game of the season, Athens comes to town, and the team plays a fantastic defensive game and wins the game 3-1. Little did we know that would be the last time we would see the Dashers win in the next 43 games. So, 43-game losing streak. In the meantime, as this losing streak happens, Soskin completely orphans the team. Has nothing to do with the team. Virtually nothing. Sends in some money occasionally late as far as paying the arena, paying the league dues, making sure that the players were paid. Players often went a month before they would get paid. It was a sad situation, and it became very well known. During the midst of the 43-game losing streak, Soskin was removed. The league said, we've had enough of this. We can't have this. The league took over operations, tried to correct things, made a coaching change, brought in Stephen Asso, who never saw a game one while he was on the bench. The roster continued to struggle. They often could not make trades that they wanted to make or sign players they wanted to sign because the league had put a freeze on them. And so, you pay the league dues, we'll let you make transactions. And it was a couple times, several weeks before that happened. In the meantime, players were not getting fed. They were trying to reach out to anybody, any of the boosters. We need food. Word got out about this, and a couple of communities, the Carolina Thunderbirds community and the Binghamton Black Bears community, organized massive donation drives. And when the Dashers came into town, they gifted the Dashers with all sorts of food and toiletries and supplies. And in that, it was a very beautiful story, in that the hockey community said, let's forget about who's wearing what jersey and let's take care of each other. I got to be a part of that group in Binghamton that provided stuff for the Dashers, met several of the players, carried stuff onto the bus, stacked the bus up to the roof with supplies, which, by the way, then the bus broke down on the way home. Terrible. But nonetheless, it was very strange. The team made one more coaching change, managed to win a couple games, ended up winning 3 games, and setting that futility mark with 43 straight losses. That is a record for professional North American teams that is going to stand for a long, long time. So, it was a very strange year. A good year, but a strange year. There was a lot of strange stuff happening behind the scenes. Hopefully we don't have so much extracurricular drama this year as we did this past year. But these are, by far, the 5 strangest stories from the 24 to 25 season. All right, so here's hoping for a better one this year. Okay, there were other stories that I could have added on this board, like the issues behind the scenes with Motor City and whatnot, but I thought these were kind of the top 5. So there you go. All right. Well, I appreciate you watching and listening to my tales of last year, tales of woe, I guess. But I do appreciate you all tuning in and watching. Thank you for all your support. Thank you to the new subscribers I've had as of late. Deeply appreciate it. Tell a friend. Make sure to hit like, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you're following me on Facebook, because that's where all the news as it happens gets posted. That's where you're going to keep up to date with what's going on in the league. Also, please follow me on the Flash Audio Network. I have a Thursday midweek report that I do on audio. The links are on the Facebook page. All right, I'm Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday for news and notes.